Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman,
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
and together we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with a super special person who's here, Sergeant Smacka. Let's start off with this. Jason
Yes.
came here a couple weeks ago, Sergeant Bracek, right?
Yes.
I was jumping out of my seat to be able to spend time with him and hang out because we don't get a chance, and the love and admiration that I feel is the same for you.
I appreciate that, Neil.
And so, I care for everyone, treat everyone the same. Excuse me. We'll drink water out of my new Trooper Talk mug.
Beautiful mug.
Go on troopertalk.com and you can get them for free. The love and admiration for you is tremendous. And the thing is this. We started this together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, this is a great idea. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it creates traction. We just passed episode 90, 1.5 years of every single week
It's amazing.
of doing the show. And so we don't get a chance to hang out because with what you do now, right?
Yes, my schedule makes things difficult. And even, I know with Bracek, he works swing shift now. So
Yeah.
I get to see him once in a while in passing, but I don't even see as much of Jason as I'd like either.
Yeah.
But I know for both of us that we always love coming back to Trooper Talk. It's a special place in both of our hearts that we feel a little bit of ownership. Most of it's all your vision and you pushing forward. But I think we take a lot of pride in our little part in it.
Yeah. So let's talk about a few things, and then we'll get the videos and all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. So there's a big difference from a patrol trooper to a sergeant, right?
Yes.
So you have a lot more responsibilities and things of this nature. And so how's it going being a sergeant versus the trooper?
I am loving it. I think it was a great opportunity for me, and I've embraced every moment. But on that note, I've also gathered a little bit more gray hair. It's probably been the most stressful year of my life. This past year is my first year as a sergeant. But it is really a great option, especially where I'm working on graveyard, where I'm supervising our newest troopers. So you start out when you have no seniority on graveyard until you can start bumping people and working your way on a swing shift and day shift and onto better days off and what have you. But yeah, everyone's got to do their time on graveyard. And so, I like being on graveyard. For one thing, it's where my heart is. And my whole career, other than my time as the PIO, or the Public Information Officer, I worked graveyard. And so it's what I know. And as a supervisor on graveyard, to go back, it's been really challenging, but really also fulfilling, being able to shape some of these brand new troopers and get them headed in the right direction to have a fulfilling career.
Yeah, and so I give mugs away at the store now, like I tell everybody about the Trooper Talk and stuff, but that's primarily when the wrong way driving, the drinking, the drugs, all these type of activities are happening generally. Not that they don't happen during the day, but at night.
Yes.
And so when you're able to talk to the troopers, you're learning too by what they're doing as well.
Oh, absolutely. These are the guys where at this point in my career, I have seen just about everything and have responded to these calls myself and have my own stories. But no two birds are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So helping them work through some of the events they've got to handle, and even be there for them if they are dealing with a difficult situation. I know I've had some young troopers where they've experienced their first fatal crash.
Oh.
And some of them have been very graphic and just a horrible scene. I don't even want to disturb the viewers by the visuals of it.
Sure.
But it was something that, we're human beings, and that's something that's going to affect them. And that showing up on that particular scene, I can see it in the face of some of these younger troopers where they'll never be the same after that. Now you're gonna have to deal with it and find a way to kind of suppress it, or come to terms with some of these horrible things we see, if you want to have this career, because unfortunately it's the nature of the beast.
Sure.
However, I mean, if there's a way I can share some of my experiences or give some advice on how I've dealt with some of these horrible scenes, then I feel like that's something that I'm really going to be able to help them in the long run. And once again, like I said, kind of give them a more fulfilling career so they don't deal with some of these bad things in the wrong way.
Yeah. And so when you got promoted, right, it was the first time I met your wife,
Yes.
right? And one of the coolest things that I was able to watch was everyone that had more seniority than you was all there, and they all talked about the mentorship and the fact of being able to share when the difficult situations happen. And I know that we talk about you all the time on the Trooper Talk. And by the way, let's say hi to your mom. Hi, how's
Mom.
it going? Yeah, hi, Mom. Great to see you. Johnny, make sure you put that on there, okay? Make sure you make a note. We talk about you all the time, okay? And so not in a personalized of what the conversation is, but the fact of what you mean to Trooper Wellman when it is that she is in a difficult situation, and that at that point she needs someone to talk with or whatever it might be, and that mentorship that you two have, right, which is what you're expressing here, is not only something to watch, but it's really cool. And so it's really nice to hear you sort of say that, and because I know that's what you feel.
Yes,
Right.
And I am seeing Trooper Wellman do it as well. There's people who aspire to be PIO in their future, and I know she's taken a couple of other troopers who have shown signs that they might excel in that position, and she's starting to kind of mentor them and get them headed in the right direction. It's just like every facet of this career, whether you're working the road or you're a PIO or a supervisor or a trainer, is you're always training your replacement. That's the way you approach this job. Is you always, especially with these up and coming brand new personnel, you're training them to eventually one day take your position.
Yeah.
And for the betterment of the patrol, and in turn the betterment of the visitors and residents of the great state of Nevada.
Yeah. It's interesting because Joe, my assistant, says to me when he first started working for me, he said, "Listen, I will come here, but here's the thing: you have to make yourself replaceable." And so it's very hard because you have to be vulnerable, right? So and in your position, you have to make yourself a little bit vulnerable to do that. But it's for the betterment of everything, and so it's wonderful.
No,
And
I know you have a difficult time with that. I don't even think you even take vacation.
I don't.
No, I don't know how you do that.
We
You need to step
work
away
very
once in a
hard. You know what
while.
I'm saying? I just want to tell you that I miss you.
I miss you too, Neil.
And that all the time we text and all this type of stuff. It's very special, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate you here, especially on a day that, listen, it's raining,
Yes.
right? And so people always drive. They think that that's the day to drive double the speed limit because it's raining, not
gotta
when the
tell
roads
you.
are wet, right?
Yeah, we started getting rain at 4 a.m. this morning, and it took 15 minutes for someone to lose their life this morning. I'm actually coming
15
off of a
minutes.
fatal crash where we had a truck roll over and someone lost their life. And it's looking like it's a combination of speed and wet weather conditions.
And so, not to go into the facts, but what we're going to say is this. This, again, is something where I can look in your eye because I know you. And this just puts another layer on your heart.
Yes.
Because you care, right? And you feel for the one who lost their life. So we're sorry for that one who lost.
I feel more for the family. This is somebody where they left their house this morning not knowing that would be the last time they walked out their front door, and their family not knowing that either, and not having a chance to really say goodbye.
Yeah, it's sort of a loss for words because you know, we always talk about you know, like the shoe that somebody had on the fatal or things like that.
This is definitely one of those crashes where there's things on scene, knowing that this was a person who had a family.
Yeah. Well, we give our hearts out to them when this is viewed. That, you know, please just slow down and, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I got some stuff for you. We did new graphics here too.
Yes.
We put the
It's fitting for today.
you got to do me a
with the
favor.
snow.
Can you look in that camera for me and just tell everybody to go to NevadaStatePolice.com if they want to join and join you to become a trooper.
If you've ever wanted to become a state trooper, please go to NevadaStatePolice.com and start the application process.
We have the window decals now.
Those are great.
Okay, now these aren't stickers, right? People, they go, oh, they're just stickers, they're going to ruin my window. No, these are real official window decals, okay, that we give away for free. So all you have to do is go to TrooperTalk.com, and at Trooper Talk, they can order these for free, which we're going to give to your mom.
I was going to tell you, Neil, my lieutenant on Graveyard had a Trooper Talk mug on his desk the other day, and I noticed it.
Yeah.
And I was immediately sent a text to Ashley at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Wanted to know where mine was.
Right, where's my Trooper Talk mug, right? All right, we're gonna
how
do
does
this on
Lieutenant
camera.
White have one and I don't?
This is yours. Yeah, there you go. And this is for your mom.
Yeah, oh, that's so nice.
She's
of
going to
you.
love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was a little jealous.
Right. Well, and so we have the window decals, right? Mm-hmm. For you and your mom.
Oh, I love those.
We're not approved yet, but we're trying to get approved to put them on your cars.
Oh, that would be cool.
Okay. We have the small and the large. Now these are stickers. Okay. Now the cool thing with those is that they're stickers and everybody loves them. And you know, I tell people when they come into the store, I give them the mugs. And I say, listen, this is my TV show. And they go, okay. I go, it's Trooper Talk. And they go, okay. I go, we go into the life with the Nevada State Police every single week. And they go, okay. And then I look at them and I go, someone died. And they go, what? And I go, someone lost their life because of a wrong way driver 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, and they go, what? And I go, look, I drive every week. I go to see the lieutenant's grave. And on the way back, I got diverted onto Flamingo Road. And I went up Flamingo Road to go home, and I went across a bridge, and I went to go home, and I saw about 50 police cars. I didn't know what it was. I said, and then the next day, on Tuesday, we filmed the Trooper Talk.
Yep, we had a wrong way right there.
And there was a wrong way driver.
Middle of the day.
You know, and like this person was doing nothing wrong, but they were driving with the family, and someone hit them. And they lost their life because of someone made the wrong choice. And so it always makes me crazy. But now it's like, you know what I mean? And so we ordered 500 mugs to give away. And when we give away 500, we're going to order 500 more. Because I want these stickers and these window decals on every car and every person in Nevada. Because they drive here too. And it's too much. And so, you know, when it comes to these things that we have to give away, like I just want to do everything I can so that everybody knows that this is not the way. And I tell people, look, if you want to die, jump off a bridge. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to care. Jump off a bridge, lay in the water, float down the river, and you're done. But don't take someone else's life because you made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know why they got on that tirade, but it's too much. And so anyway, when it comes to the Trooper Talk mugs, now you and your mom.
Oh yeah, I love the mugs and the stickers are great.
Right.
I know, like, I'm sure Jenny, my wife, will love them. She's a high school teacher, and they have the big water bottles that they all the kids think it's cool to put stickers on.
I don't have my phone, but I have one on the back of my phone. You know what I mean? Yeah, 100%. All right, let's get to some. Maybe your wife will come on with you, and we can talk with her too. We love it. All right. The big search operation leaves the 21 missing children. So we talk about many things here. Mm-hmm. We don't talk very often about the human trafficking.
Yes.
And the human trafficking is a real issue. And not only people may not lose their life because they're not breathing, but they may lose their life because they don't know who they are. And people just take advantage of that. And so these people are cold-hearted, and so
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Like, this is amazing.
Human trafficking, it means literally that somebody was kidnapped and is being held, sometimes for years, against their will.
Years.
Year.
And
And
so,
unfortunately, a big part of it, is sex trafficking. And I could only imagine these parents. All of a sudden, their teenage daughter's missing. Don't see him for years, and come to find out, the horrors they've experienced by being trafficked, kidnapped and trafficked, held against their will, and forced to do things that are just undescribable. Being treated like an animal, not like a human.
yeah, and not to go into specifics, right? But in part of your training, when you go to a traffic stop, right? You're trained to look for, let's say, certain activities
For sure.
that would alarm you to say maybe something isn't right.
Yeah. And there's things we look for that anybody can look for. Anybody who's out and about, you see somebody at a bus stop, or you just see somebody out in one of the casinos. Things to look for are somebody. Now, there's a difference between having kind of a moody teenager or something with their family and don't want to be there or something. But there's also ways to pick up that somebody may look scared, very sad, or like really depressed, not making any eye contact with anybody, looking down all the time. If you're talking to them, the party they're with, answering on their behalf, speaking for them,
Yeah.
they can almost seem kind of scared, or
Like they don't know what to say because they don't want to say
like
the wrong
they're
thing,
almost
right?
afraid of being hit. Kind of,
Yeah.
it's just.
Like an abused dog or something,
Yes,
right?
exactly. A human being almost acts a lot like a dog that's been abused. Yeah, they're very timid. They're kind of flinchy. They don't want to make eye contact, and then it's the behavior of those people that are with them, where they're very controlling of them. May have a lot of close physical contact, kind of always holding them close, bringing them into them, holding their hand aggressively. But a big one, especially when traffic stops, is they'll do all the speaking for them. They won't let them answer any questions for themselves. And so that's a good indicator for us to maybe separate these parties and talk to the person that we suspect is a victim on their own, away from this other person.
And
And then maybe we can try to figure out who they are, and if they need help, or if they need to be removed from the situation.
yeah, and that's because you care, right?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Like there's a difference from like just going there and just doing your job to actually opening up your heart. And in order to accomplish goals like this, the troopers have to open up and be able to see those things so that they can help the parties there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big way I approach this job, is whether I'm investigating a crash, or even pulling someone over, or dealing with somebody who might be a victim of something as horrible as trafficking, is I think of my own family. How would I want my family treated? What would I hope somebody would do for my family? And I try to be there and do that for others.
Yeah, it's tremendous. So we appreciate that. And
No, they're doing great work.
We're doing,
And a lot of people don't associate that with highway patrol, but we've become very active in combating this horrible national problem
Yeah,
of
it's
human trafficking. It's horrible.
horrible. And so, and let's just say that if someone is trafficked, or you feel that, you can I'm sure you could call 911 and go to any police officer, but I'm just saying, you can always go to the Nevada State Police and just walk in there and say, something isn't right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Semi-truck crash forces lane closure.
We actually had another one of those this morning, where we had a lane closure on the Beltway. Anytime we have a crash involving a tractor trailer, it's going to close the highway down for hours, especially when you have a jackknife trailer or an overturned trailer, even worse. It is a huge problem for the commuters in our valley, because it's such a big truck, and a lot of times if there's material inside the trailer that has to be removed before you can move the trailer again, because it's so much weight involved that the whole structure of the trailer could just collapse from trying to just tip it back over or straighten it with all that stuff on board. It is a long, arduous process, especially a lot of times with tractor trailers. They have their fuel tanks on the exterior of the vehicle underneath the doors. And if those gets pierced, now we got a hazardous material situation, and we got to have that properly cleaned, and that could take hours.
So one of the things that we did, maybe episode like a long time ago, maybe even a year ago, where the Nevada State Police was inside one of the cabs of the
Yes, we still do that. Yeah,
right?
Badge on board.
Badge on board, right? And so the thing is this, that what people, not that this is what caused this or the one happened this morning, but we also, as a motorist, have to pay attention to the big rigs because we can't, people cut them off and they can't stop very fast. And again, we're not saying that's this.
No.
But the situation is that when they have to stop very fast, all of a sudden things like this can get caused.
Yeah,
and you're zipping on down the road and you don't care because everybody else is behind you.
Yeah. Or, if you cut in front of them and all of a sudden somehow you have to slam on their brakes, they're not going to be able to stop in time and they're going to hit you.
Yeah.
Because it takes a long time to get one of those stopped.
So when we see them, we have to just pay extra attention to what they're doing. You know what I mean?
And just remember that,
because
they
are
can't
large
maneuver
vehicles.
like a normal car.
Right, 100%. Oh, look at this one.
Yep.
An overturned truck is
Another
causing significant
It's
delays.
like I was
on
talking
board.
about. Yeah, especially when you get one overturned, and then it looks like a crane on it, and it's a big, heavy truck.
And so, like you said, now all of a sudden you have 4 or 5 lanes now converging into one.
And there's very few tow trucks that are big enough and have the ability to handle towing a big,
I
large
never even
vehicle like
thought of
that.
that.
So that's even a longer delay. It's not just any tow truck can handle this. You need to get a heavy duty. And there's only so many of those in the Las Vegas Valley.
And then they have to, and then they have to come down the road and get through.
Yeah, and you have to get them through the traffic onto the scene so they can first lift the truck back onto its wheels and then get it loaded. It's a big, long, complicated process.
And we always talk about it, but the fact that you're trying to open the road as fast as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you're not like, oh, okay, we're just gonna hang out here and just, you know what I mean? Like
No,
you're
when the road's
doing
closed, it's cost everybody a lot of money because you got all these other trucks here
Right.
loaded with produce. They're all
need
trying
to
to
get
get somewhere, and they need to get somewhere quick.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had cases where you had the big trucks with cement on the back, and they got the cement mixers going on the way to if they're stuck too long, that cement's going to start to harden on them, even if they're spinning it.
I never even thought of that.
And you refrigerated trucks. I mean, you got stuff where if it's sitting idle and you start getting low on fuel, you don't know if something happens with the refrigeration. I mean, it could cause a lot of problems down the line.
I never even thought about the fact that, which is probably an interesting question, how much gas people actually keep in their car. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure most people keep it at like a quarter tank. Quarter to a half.
Yeah, but if you're
and if you do that, and all of a sudden you're in a situation,
if you're gambling
like
with it, you can run out of gas right there in the middle of the highway for sure. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and I never thought about that, so that's something to take into account too. What, 0.206?
Yeah, that's almost 3 times the legal limit.
So, in Nevada, we have alcohol, we have marijuana. I saw that they're trying to do that lounge thing where you can then consume the marijuana in a place or something, right? They're trying to pass that law. We have the legal prescription drugs, right? We have people who use legal prescription drugs in an illegal way. Right? And then we have just totally flat out illegal drugs that, all these things, inhibit the way that we process our mind. Right? And so when someone makes a choice at a 0.206, this is not a person that is deciding that they're going to go to the local place, drink a swig of a beer, and they're driving down the road.
No. Well, also, I would argue, too, a person who's making a decision at a 0.206 isn't making a decision that person would normally make.
Oh. Like if they were, you're saying so.
I'm
so,
arguing when you're that impaired,
Yeah.
you are. It's been shown you make poor decisions. So that's one
okay.
thing we always argue. Where for this person here, they would have planned ahead and whatever. If they, I don't know what the backstory is, but if
Right.
they happen to be going to a bar or a restaurant or whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
or to a friend's house, with the plan to ingest some alcohol and have a good time, nothing wrong with that. However, you got to plan ahead. Take an Uber there. Don't leave yourself in a position where you have to drive your own car to get home, or because that's the biggest thing I see with a lot of these people when they make the decision to drive impaired, is they don't want to deal with the aggravation of having to go get their car from some other place the next day. They're just going to try to risk it and get the car home so they don't have to worry
okay.
about going to go get their car. So if you put yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about that, and you leave the decision on whether or not you're going to drive impaired to the person who's sober and not the person who's impaired at a .206, I guarantee the person who's sober is going to make a much wiser decision than this person is.
And that's very interesting because we never talk about that.
Yeah.
So the fact that, and again, we're just talking generalized terms, that if a person is stone cold sober, and a person is drinking and right, that the decision making, not even the fact of being able to drive a car and you're making bad road decisions, right? But maybe the fact that if you weren't so intoxicated, you were sober, you would understand that you're making that bad decision.
Yeah, you've seen. I mean, we've seen that the videos are all over the internet of people acting improperly, and it usually appears.
Yeah, of course,
It seems
of course.
that they're on something. They're impaired in some sort. Whether it's New Year's Eve, you got people trying to climb up light poles, people
Yeah.
running out in traffic after or a big sporting event. They're out there tipping over cars and doing foolish things.
Yeah.
A lot of it is fueled because they're not thinking clearly. They get caught up in one. I'm sure some of it is being a crowd mentality kind of thing.
Right.
But another part of it is they're impaired. Their
Yeah.
thought process is a little slowed, and they've lost their inhibitions a little bit.
And that's very interesting because I never thought about it in that way. And so people have to make the right decisions when they're sober so that if they want to get impaired, they already have those things in place. They're not doing it while they're intoxicated.
Yeah, I even think about myself. If I'm going to make a decision that has life or death consequences, do I want to leave that decision to somebody who has all their faculties and is completely sober, or somebody who's lost their inhibitions a bit and has had too much to drink?
Right. And so that's a very interesting thing. So if somebody's going to go do something, they have to do that before they start the alcohol or whatever it is that they're doing.
That would be my recommendation. Yes, don't leave this even to chance. Have all
Right,
this
don't
taken
even-
care of. Where you got your Uber lined up, you have to get an Uber to get home because you got an Uber to wherever you're going, and you're not going to have a problem.
Right. Better to take
Plan
one of
ahead.
those things to the place
Yes.
and leave your car at
Yeah.
home.
And then there's not that excuse. Well, I don't want to have to go try
Right.
to. I'm going to get my car tomorrow. Now I'm going to have to bug somebody problems taken care of ahead of time.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot. Officer observed a plate to be fake.
Yes, we've been getting a lot of.
So you get
fraudulent-
fake license plates?
Yes. I think you probably know as much as probably more than most, that registering a vehicle in the state of Nevada can be expensive.
Yes.
Especially a brand new car, a car
Yes.
worth some money.
Yes.
BMW 530i, for instance. Expensive car to register. So a lot of people will try to take shortcuts and use fraudulent plates.
Do they do insurance, or do they?
Chances are, if you got a fraudulent plate, it's
probably don't
likely
do
that the
insurance.
car is not going to be insured either, which is also expensive.
So you drive around. So no insurance, no plates, no nothing.
Yeah, and now if they get involved in a crash with someone, they've just victimized that person. 'Cause
Right.
that person now has to use their own insurance to make themselves right again, whatever
Right.
the damage is.
And so, without getting into specifics, I mean, it's obviously a crime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Oh, yeah,
these
it's
type of
definitely a
things
crime.
always lead to maybe other things that
yeah.
people are doing.
You risk major fines, or you risk getting the vehicle towed, because state of
So
Nevada, a vehicle's got to have valid insurance and current registration in order to be operate on a public roadway. So the trooper could very well decide when they stop you, instead of just writing you citations, they might just tow your vehicle on
They
you.
could tow
They can
and
tow your vehicle.
impound.
They can impound your vehicle for that. Yeah. So it's a gamble. If you want to be fraudulent and cut corners and try to not pay the same as everyone else has to pay,
Right.
you risk getting your vehicle impounded.
And let's no matter what the person believes or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm sure that the money that is paid, I know it helps, for the roadways and all these, you know what I mean? So you're not just skeeving out, like you're not
No, it all goes
helping the
somewhere.
city,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and so there's validity to what they do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nevada Reading Week.
Yeah, this is something that all the state troopers really look forward to every
Oh, yeah.
year.
Tell me about
is getting to interact with our community in a positive light.
Uh-huh.
And especially going to these schools and reading to the kids. Some of these kids may have never had an opportunity to interact with a police officer other than maybe what they see on TV, or maybe even in a negative light, depending on if mom and dad have had to have police over at the house for whatever reason. And so this is our opportunity to show these kids that, we're good people, we're friendly people, and more important, we're somebody that they can trust. And if they're ever in trouble, they know that they can come to a police officer and we're going to help them.
And we want to do everything we can for adults, for teen, you know what I mean, all the way down. But when it comes to the children, right, they're so pure that we need to express to them what the badge really means,
Yes.
and that it's not meant out of fear.
No. In fact, we see some things, and I don't think the parents necessarily intend to make their children afraid of police officers, but you'll see it a lot out in public where parents will sometimes, even in jest, joke that, if you don't shape up, I'm going to have the police officer over there take you to jail. And it's something that we don't really like parents to promote, because we're not trying to make these children afraid to come to a police officer. If they're ever in trouble or, need
never
help
thought
in a
about
public
that, yeah.
setting, we want them to see someone in uniform and have that trust to run up to that person for that help. We want them coming to the police for help. That's what we're here for. And when parents, whether they intend to or not, kind of make those jokes,
Yeah.
in a
It's
way,
a-
they're making their children afraid of the police. And then if their children are in trouble, who are they going to run to?
It's amazing you say that, because I think every parent says that when they see the police officer, they go, "You better be careful, or
Yeah.
he's
No,
going
a lot
on,
of
he's going to
times-
take you right to yeah."
They're joking, but it could have
it's-
those negative consequences.
Absolutely, and so that's why it's very important, and that when we talk on the Trooper Talk, right, we always talk about the positivity of the badge and what it means and things of that nature, because we don't ever want anybody to be fearful. We want people to know that when
Yes.
you see that, that you can come up and have a conversation.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to kids. You don't want them being afraid of the police.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this is wonderful. I love seeing this. Love it. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, this was horrible.
Remsa to escort the bodies of those who lost. Oh.
This was the care flight that crashed in northern Nevada, killing all on board.
There was
this
the
was
pilot,
a horrible
the two
tragedy.
pilots, and the paramedic and the person.
Yeah,
right?
and a nurse and their patient.
Right.
This was a horrible tragedy.
So
And it's just a show of support when we have these motorcades or escorts. Where it's just a show of support, showing that we mourn with them.
yeah, you've been on the motorcade like this.
Yes.
So when you're in the car all by yourself, right? So you're like, I'm following someone or people that have lost their life, right?
Yes.
Like, do you freak out? Like in your mind, like in your mind.
Oh, yeah, a lot of times
like
it's
in your
very
mind, like because
emotional.
you're driving, like so now you're driving at like whatever speed, right? And you can't pass anybody, and you're like, okay, I got to drive late. I don't know, like I would like, I don't know if I could handle it. Like I would start freaking out. I'd be like, look, like, you know.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind that it was very difficult was when Sergeant Ben Jenkins was killed in the line of duty. Even though he was a Northern Nevada state trooper, Las Vegas is the largest city in the state and it has the most resources. And his remains were brought to the medical examiner at the Clark County Coroner's office. And I was part of the motorcade that returned Ben home to Northern Nevada. And it was very mixed emotions. You're very sad. You're also a little anger towards the person that just murdered this father, this brother, this son, this uncle, this state trooper, a brother. But on the other hand, you're just so humbled by the outpouring of support as you travel through these rural towns throughout Nevada. And even though we were traveling over 100 miles, it seemed like the majority of the trip, there was constantly residents of Nevada lining the highway all the way from Las Vegas up north to Elko, waving flags and showing support, little kids on the side of the road waving, and it was really, really touching. It made a very painful experience something that's actually was kind of memorable and beautiful.
And so you feel the fact that, like, okay, maybe there's whatever people that don't like you, or not you personally,
No,
but like
yeah.
but like people love you.
Yeah,
right?
it does make you realize that that sometimes this can be a very isolating job, especially when there's a lot of negativity in the news. But these shows of support really do remind us that the majority of people that we serve do appreciate us.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's very important. You know what I mean? Like, you put your life on the line every single day when you just open the door, right? Because, some idiot could be out there, you know what I mean? Like, just targeting you because,
Yes.
you're getting in your car.
Yes, then that's something where our families, it's probably more of a burden on our families than us, is that every time I kiss Jenny when I leave to work at night, that could be our last time. There's no guarantees I'm coming home.
Yeah, and that's why people have to reach out and whenever they see you, always show love and support, and maybe not hug you and stuff like that, but at least say hello and shake your hand. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's very important. And so
Yes.
for those people who don't say it, I say it. I love you. and so does your wife. You know what I'm saying? And she loves that kiss. And like I said, when I had the I'll just say this quickly. When I had the opportunity to go there, when you got promoted, and they gave your wife flowers because they said, listen, here's the deal. This isn't just about him. I'm getting the chills because it's the truth, okay?
Yeah.
This isn't just about him, right?
No, it's harder on her.
You have to be able to be supportive in order for him to be able to accomplish this goal in his life.
Yes.
And when she was there and she stood next to you and they gave her the flower, it was so memorable.
No, and she's earned them.
You know what I'm saying?
I think back to even like the Route 91 Harvest Festival tragedy, where she had to spend that whole night not knowing if I'm okay, knowing I'm down there and I'm on duty, but that's all she knows. And I have a job to do. I tried to communicate with her as best I can, but I had to be focused on what I was doing, and so the communication with my wife definitely is going to suffer there because I have my job to do. I can't be on the phone.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult.
At the same time, she's at home where every second feels like an hour waiting to hear from me.
Yeah, 100%, and that's what I think is so very special, and that we were able to see.
Yeah.
And it was very touching, and to be able to move both of you. You know what I mean? Like forward
Yes.
it, and to be able, for you to be able to be successful with what you do, you have to have that support at home.
Yeah, and it shows that. Yeah, we do work for state government and everything, but it's made up of human beings who all recognize the human component of what we do.
Yeah. So we give a shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? Ben Jenkins.
Yes, speaking of
So
Sergeant Jenkins.
I talked to Trooper Wellman.
Yes.
Johnny, can you make a note of this, because this needs to be on Thursday, on Channel 13. Because this weekend is the car show
Yes,
for the
this weekend.
IPOF, right?
Yeah,
and I
and
said,
it's same
oh,
day.
I said, are you going to bring your family to the, because last year she brought her family to the car show and all that type of stuff, and it was very exciting, and I love it. And I said, so you bring it? And she sent me a text. She goes, I'm going to be here. So let's talk about the fact of the Big Dogs Brewing Company is going to do the cornhole tournament in honor of Sergeant Ben Jenkins, who lost his life.
Yes. And it's going to be a fundraiser for the honor guard. That way, when an officer, even in a different department across the United States, when an officer is killed in the line of duty, it's the responsibility of the honor guards of all the other agencies to send representatives to pay their respects and mourn with that department. And so this is going to assist the Nevada State Police in sending our honor guard members to pay respects to fallen officers in other states.
And the honor guard is all volunteer,
Yes.
right? You don't get extra or
No.
this, right? People think, oh, you're just doing it so you get extra money.
No, there's
None of that type of
nothing like
stuff,
that.
right? And it's a huge honor,
Yes,
like to be in the honor guard,
yes.
right? I've had the honor, of seeing the honor guard, a few times, and it's like tremendously choreographed, and everything is perfect.
Yeah, a lot of practice and time goes into not just practicing for the different ceremonies that we take place or part in, but also a lot of work and effort goes into maintaining our uniforms and keeping them pristine.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tremendous. So we love the honor guard. We want to give a shout out to the Big Dogs Brewing Company, right? 4543 North Rancho, 12 to 4 on Saturday, this coming Saturday. So we'll
Yes.
put that up there. And, everybody go there. You know what I'm saying? And try to get, to give money and stuff like that for the honor guard,
Yes.
Myth. Full face helmets block your field of view. In fact, the average maximum human field of view is 200 degrees. I never saw this before. I don't know where Johnny got it, but let's talk about the fact of motorcycles. I don't ride a motorcycle,
Neither do I.
but if I had a motorcycle, I would probably have a steel suit. You know what I'm saying? And I would put a full face shield on because, how many rocks, every time I drive the car, that's all you hear is these little pebbles and rocks and things like that. And so,
Yes, you can just look at the picture. I mean, like I said, like you, I don't ride a motorcycle either, but however, I can just tell from even this picture that there's not a lot around you. So if you're in a crash, it's pretty much you and whatever you're crashing into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably like to have as much protection as I possibly could.
Right. And so, in the state of Nevada, you have to wear a helmet, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't have to, it just has to have a helmet.
Yes. Yeah, this looks like this was an endorsement for the face shield, which, especially on the type of bike you're seeing in this picture where there's no windshield on the
Right,
bike.
100%.
I think we've all driven, especially spring coming up here in Nevada. I don't think I want to catch a bug between the eyes. That sounds like that hurts.
Yeah.
They
I never
make
thought about that, but yes.
They make a big splatter on my windshield. I don't
Right.
need that on my forehead.
Right. I never even thought of that. You're driving and all of a sudden one goes in your eye. And, you
Yeah,
know,
and now you're wiping out.
Right.
So I could see that definitely a use for having a face mask,
A full face
or a
mask.
windshield on your bicycle for
right.
sure.
One of the two. So if you have a motorcycle, let's try to put either one of the two. But I do see a lot of the sit down ones where you're sort of back, and a lot of those don't have the front windshield. And I never thought about the fact of looking at people's helmets and stuff, but I don't see people wear those full face shields. I think that they wear the
Not-
ones on the back that
Yeah,
go like
I
this.
would say they're not used as frequently for sure.
Right. All right, so don't get a bug in your eye. That's a good one. how has your life been impacted by impaired driving? Well, I told you already about 4 Sundays ago. We've been sitting here ranting and raving for over a year and a half, and we will continue for another 10 and a half years. You know what I'm saying? Or 20 years or 50 years. I don't care. You know, the thing is that these people who are doing the impaired driving, it's too much. And they just need to stop. And so we talked today, which was really cool, about the fact of before you get impaired, make decisions that so that which is good, like take an Uber or whatever it is before,
Prevent
so
the
you don't have
tragedy
to
from happening.
Prevent the tragedy, which we don't ever talk about. Okay, which is really, really good. So that again gets somebody to be able to think about that, right? So that's really, really important. And the fact of these people who are doing the impaired driving, you know,
I was going to say, too, of course it's going to affect the victim's family, or
Families.
even the impaired driver and their family. But it also, you brought up earlier how it had an effect on you, the last fatal crash with a wrong-way driver, and you had nothing to do with it, other than it could have easily been you facing that wrong-way driver because you're right in that part of town when you're visiting the Lieutenant's Memorial Site. It was right there off of that Northern Beltway area where you could have easily been wrong time, wrong place. You could have been facing that wrong-way driver. It could happen to any of us.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to tell you that, so when we had daylight savings time, I took my car out for the first time. And I was driving up there, and I was scared because all I felt was that somebody was going to come off on one of those on-ramps at 80 or 90 miles an hour. And I didn't travel in the far left lane, right, because we know that they always cruise over. So I stayed in the right. But then I was fearful that this person was going to come off the thing and go, you know, like...
Unfortunately, it's the mindset you almost need when you're out driving. Is you have to be very defensive.
It was so scary.
Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, you know, it was so scary for me, like literally, that you know,
now it's a big burden on you.
Yeah.
But having that mindset and mentality while you're driving is going to protect you in a sense versus somebody where they're not even thinking about that. They're not expecting that.
I agree.
And they don't have a plan on how they're going to react to that.
I agree. You know what I mean? Like it still puts like so. I drove this Sunday and it was still a little bit fearful, but it's really like it's really bothering me now about the car, just because of the fact that every time I go on one of the freeways, that's really where I'm thinking, because I know it's just one person. Right, like there's hundreds of thousands of people. You know, like I always say, you need one idiot. Like you need one person. You don't need 100. You need one that just one. You know what I mean? That decided, you know, at 9 o'clock in the morning that they were going to, you know, start drinking vodka.
Yeah. And that's really troubling too, is knowing that one happened during the daylight, middle of the day.
Like it's too much for me. All right, so now we ended. Can you believe it? I will end again by saying the admiration and the feelings and all that type of stuff that I have for you, for your wife, you know, for her supporting, for her doing everything. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. And you know, it's so wonderful because when you have something that's genuine. And even though you don't see a person, like, you know, when you came today and you walked by, like, you know, before we got in the studio, like, I just wanted to give you a hug. You know what I mean? And like, because I want you to know how much that I appreciate you and what we accomplished. So, thank you for coming on.
It's always a pleasure, Neil. I look forward to it.
Yeah. And so thank you for everything. All right, one more time, Nevada State Police. Just tell everybody.
If you want to become a state trooper, please go to NevadaStatePolice.com and start the application process.
All right. Want to say goodbye to your mom one more time?
Yeah. Bye, Mom.
All right. Bye, Mom. We'll see you later. Thank you for everything.